Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful sleeveless pointy circle top, as you can see right there on the video and on the thumbnail. So the circle top is actually very simple. It's sleeveless, it has a high neck, it also has a keyhole button neckline at the back, though I covered it with my hair. But I'm going to teach you how to sew this beautiful top. It's actually high load on this side. So I'm going to make use of 3 yards of crepe fabric for this project. 3 yards of crepe fabric. The crepe fabric is actually a light crepe. So I have 3 yards. You can also make use of 2.5 yards depending on how full you want this circle top to be. So I'm going to open up the 3 yards right now, and I'm going to fold it into 2 equal parts. So once I fold it, I'll be having 1.5. So this 1.5 right now, I'm going to pick up the folded part and the open part, and I'm going to lay it as a triangle or bias. So you can see how I'm laying it like a triangle. So I will make the open part to kiss the folded part and form a triangle with it, as you can see. So here I've arranged the triangle. The next thing is to mark out my shoulder measurement, divide by 2 plus 1/2 inch for seam allowance. So for me, I have 8 inches in total. So I will keep my ruler straight. You can see how I kept it straight. And I'm going to mark that line where I got my shoulder divided by 2 plus 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to mark a straight line right there, and that will be my shoulder line or my starting point. So I'm going to measure my neckline. My neckline right now, I'm using 3 inches because it's a high neck, and I'll come down by 1 inch for the back. Then I'm going to connect 3 by 1 inch, 3 by 1 inch for the back neckline. Then the depth of the front neckline is 3 inches, and I'll connect the 3 inches to the 3 inches too. So we are done with the neckline. Next, I'll come over to the shoulder line, which is 8 inches. I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder drop. Then I'm going to make a slant line for my shoulder drop. So after that is done, I'm going to place my tape at the shoulder to measure my chest line. My chest line is 9 inches. I'll just make a mark at that point. Then at the slanted part, I'll come down by 8 inches because I've already taken 1 inch for my shoulder drop. So the remaining is 8 inches. That matches with the 9 inches chest line. So I'm going to make a mark at that point. So I'm going to keep my ruler straight. So you can see how I place my ruler. From the folded part, I'll trace that ruler till the point I get to the slanted part. Then I will now make sure my ruler is straight. So that's how to get your ruler straight at that point. So next is to measure my chest line or my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10 inches. I'm going to add 1.5 inch for ease and for stitching allowance. So after marking that point, I'm going to make a mark at the midline of my armhole, which is 4 inches. Then at that midline, I'm going to construct both the front and the back neckline. So I'll go in by 1/2 inch for the front neckline. I'll connect with a straight through to the shoulder, and then I'm using my curve ruler, placing it on that 1/2 inch to align with the chest line. So that is my armhole for the front. I'm going to also place my ruler on that straight part and mark the armhole for the back. So you can see the difference between the front armhole and the back armhole. There's a difference. So now I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder and take the full length of this top. So the full length of this top is 37 inches, including the seam allowance. So I'm going to mark from that shoulder. I'll just go around it like that, From that shoulder, I place my tape and I measure 37 inches all around. So after marking out the 37 inches all around, I will go ahead to cut out what I have. So I've cut out the length of my top. So this is what I got as my top right now. So I'm going to connect from that armhole, from the bust line I marked. I'll just mark a diagonal line to meet the end of this top, the hem part of this top. So after marking that line, I'll add half an inch on the shoulder seam line for stitching the shoulder part. So next, I'm going to cut out this top. I'm going to cut the back piece starting from the side. I'll cut the armhole for the shoulder, the back neckline, and then the armhole for the back. Then I'm going to separate the back from the front. So now I'm going to, this is the back. I want to create the keyhole for the button. So I will mark 3.5 inches for the length of this keyhole, and I'll just go ahead and open it at the center back. I'll open it up this way. So the back is ready right now. I'm going to bring back the front right away. So for the front, I'm going to place it very well and cut out the neckline for the front. So I just tried securing with my pin because the fabric is actually very light. So I'll just cut out the front neckline, as you can see. So after cutting it, the next thing is to create our facing. So I'll place my facing, making sure it's folded, and I secure with my pin and trace the neckline. So I'll just go ahead and round it up this way. So for the back facing, I'll also place it the same way I place the front facing. So the back facing has to go beyond the keyhole line. So I'll go ahead and trace also and cut it out. Then open the keyhole exactly at 3.5 inches for the facing. So I'll bring back the front neckline and place it together just to get the width of the facing. And this is what I got at the end of the day. So I'm going to place my facing on the front neckline. I'll stitch at 0.5 inch. I'm done stitching. I'm taking off my pins. The next thing I'm going to do is to place notches to ease that part. So after placing my notches, I'm going to flip the seams to the facing and top stitch around it. So here I'm done. I even folded the facing. So coming over to the back, I'll place the right side of the back too, but I'm going to create a loop with my fabric. The width is 1.5 inch. So I've created it just like we sew our rope, and I'm going to cut out 2 inches. So I'll cut it at 2 inches, that is the loop length. So I'm going to place the loop right now on the keyhole cut. So I'll come down by 0.5 inch and face it inside the dress. Okay, don't face it outside. You can see where I faced it. So I'm going to place my facing right now, and I'm going to secure with my pins. I'll first secure the edges of the keyhole cut. Then I'm going to secure the center back where we have the V shape. Then I'm going to secure the necklines accordingly. So make sure you match them appropriately before you go ahead to stitch. So I'm going to my machine right now, and I'm going to sew at 1/2 inch. I will sew at 1/2 inch. So after sewing, I'm going to place my notches as well. So make sure you also put a notch on that center back area to ease that part very well. I'll flip my seams to the facing and top stitch. So this is what I got after I'm done top stitching. I also folded the facing to make it easy. So now I'm turning what I got on the edges of the keyhole. So I'll go and give it a good press. So here I've pressed it down. So the next thing we are going to do now, I also pressed the front part. So I'm going to place it right side to right side to sew the shoulder seam line. That is the next stage. So I'll place the front to the back, right side to right side. Then I'm going to put the shoulder the way you see me do right here, and use one of the facings to wrap it up. Then I'll stitch at 0.5. So I'm done right now. You can see how neat and clean this looks. So next is to finish up the armhole. So I'm going to use 1 inch width of my fabric. I cut 1 inch of the length of my armhole. So make sure it's 1 inch so that part is not bulky. So I'll place right side to right side first, and I'm going to sew from the beginning, right side to right side, till I get to the end. So now I'm going to stitch. This is what I got. After stitching, I'm going to fold it in and in like that, just like you stitch your bias. You can also use a bias that is matching to do this, but I prefer to use fabric. So I've given it a good press right now. Next is to sew the size of this at 1 inch. So I'll go over to my machine now, and I'm going to stitch at 1 inch for the both sides. So after stitching, this is what I got on one side. So I'm going to put these two sides together so we can shape in the pointy part of the circle top, which is the main purpose of this tutorial. So I want you to pay attention at this point. So you can see the center front and center back and the side. I put them together. So I'll come up by 11 inches on the side. I'll make a mark from the down 11 inches. So after that, I'm going to connect from the center front. Just point it the way I'm pointing it, like that, with a straight rule. So I'll mark that straight rule to meet up the 11 inches length. So you can see what I have. I'm just trying to make my chalk line prominent. So this is how to create that pointy part. So you can see how slanted is looking right there. So I'm going to cut right now, but I'm still highlighting the line so you can see it very, very well. So from that pointy part, I'm going to cut off what I have. So I'll cut it off like this. So I'll just spread it open to make sure the pointy part is actually very, very pointy. So I'll just shaping it a little bit to be very, very pointy the way I want. So this is what I got right now. So next is to fold in and hem the size accordingly and give it a good press. Thanks for watching. Bye.